Welcome back to the Unconventional Coach Podcast. You are joining me today for episode number 43, and we are going to be talking, or I am going to be talking about calories and macros. Now, I get this question quite a lot, and I think obviously, like any subject within the fitness industry, there are so many opinions and there is just so much information out there that it's really hard to figure out what is right. And I think the most important thing when looking at any piece of advice is asking yourself if it applies to you and if it will help you, because any fitness person on social media or whatever, remember, if they are like an online coach, they have a certain demographic, okay? So they have a certain target audience that they are looking at. So if you are a coach that specializes in PCOS or other hormonal conditions, you will always be pushing like a lower carb approach. You'll be encouraging the benefits of higher fat diets, which is true. You'll be talking specifically to those women that would benefit from that information. Same with if you are a bodybuilder and you are looking to prep people for shows, you are going to be talking all about carb cycling and I don't know, whatever else goes into bodybuilding. Okay, my target audience is pretty much normal people, normal women that are just looking to not only change their body composition but to have it easy. Because for me, I went through years of trying different diets, being obsessed, having issues with binge eating, with body dysmorphia, and just all these sort of things. So that is my target audience. That is the people I want to help. So if you are a normal woman or a man, men are welcome here as well, you know. But if you are a normal person and you are looking to change body composition but are fed up of it being complicated and trying to do 100 things at once, then you are going to really benefit from this podcast. Okay, so firstly, let's talk a little bit about like I want to talk about my personal experience, because I think a lot of the time, and as well, okay, people's opinions change because facts change and knowledge changes. Like when I first started getting into health and fitness and just looking into my own weight loss journey, this was the time when, to be honest, calorie deficits were not a thing. Like no one was talking about energy deficits. Even like the big sort of pages where, what's that big page where as soon as you Google anything about fitness or whatever, this page comes up. It's like a bodybuilding page or whatever. But whatever would come up, if I would search quick ways to lose body fat or whatever, it would always come up with things like carb cycling. And this is when I was like 16, 17, 18. So what am I? I'm 23 now. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So like 5 to 7 years ago, this was the thing. And even now, a lot of the time, if you were to Google like how to lose weight, you'll come across someone's blog or someone's website and it'll be, I really benefited from the keto diet. Oh, you need to be in ketosis and fasting and low carb and just whatever. So there is so much out there, and I was someone who I would not focus on my calories. Well, I would have a calorie goal, but I didn't truly understand that it actually was all down to the calories. And I know that sounds frustrating for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people just want it to be more complicated than it is. The psychological implications of dieting and seeking a specific result is the real challenge. But what ultimately it is when you are seeking fat loss, for example, is an energy deficit. But like I said, I don't think people want to believe that deep down, because I didn't. I wanted to believe that my metabolism was broken and that I needed a weekly cheat meal to boost my metabolism. And this was my mentality towards fat loss. I was very much obsessed, and I was very focused on my macro split. I would make sure that I was typically following a really low carb diet. and I was tracking, but even then I was binging on the side. So right there, I wasn't seeing the results I wanted because I was under eating during the week and then overeating at the weekend. Like, I would eat, just to put it in perspective, okay? I used to work at a supplement shop called Metrics, or GNC, and I would purposely break like a tub of peanut butter. They had, oh, they were so good. It was Protein Works. They would have flavored peanut butter. So one would be like chocolate, the other one would be like salted caramel, and another one would be like cookie dough or something. And I would purposely break a tub so I could write it off as like damage and eat it. And the tubs were like 500 grams. They were like this big. And I shit you not, I would eat a whole tub in like a day or two. I would binge a whole tub of peanut butter. And then I wouldn't track it. Okay, so do you know what I mean? Right then, I was focusing on was off. I was focusing on being 100% perfect, ticking all my macros, getting my protein in, and sticking to low carbs, and just all of this, eating the right things. And I never got anywhere with my progress because I was so laser focused on things that didn't really matter, like what time of the day I ate, like where my calories were coming from, and they do matter. I think now you have to like justify everything you say. If you say, oh, it's all down to a calorie deficit, you've then got to say, oh, but your sleep does matter, and oh, but your where your food comes from does matter. So it's like you've got to justify yourself and just really go into things, because there's always going to be someone that's like, yeah, but you just can't always eat McDonald's and lose weight. And it's like, well, no shit, Sherlock, but again, calorie fucking deficit. But you can see, I like I say, I was someone who was not focused on calories. I was like, no, it's all down to your macros. It's all down to the time of day you eat, your carbs, your cardio. I need to be doing an hour of cardio a day to lose fat. And I never fucking got anywhere until I really evaluated it and I educated myself, and I broke down my restrictions and barriers and just really gained knowledge. And I think that's the most important thing when seeking any result, is gaining knowledge, because then you can cut out the bullshit. You can cut out, like, if you've gone 10 grams over your carb goal, that shouldn't trigger a binge because you feel like you failed. You should not be eating for the sake of it to hit your calorie goal, okay? Your appetite will differ day to day. That's really important to remember as well. But I'm going off topic a little bit. So let's talk about macros first, okay? So you've got three main macronutrients. You've got protein, you've got carbohydrates, and you've got fat, okay? Alcohol is now considered a macronutrient, and I don't even know how many calories per gram alcohol is. I think it's a 10 or 12 calories per gram. So protein and carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. So if you had 2 grams of carbs in something, you'd have approximately 8 calories, okay? Calories are units of energy, okay? You've got protein, carbs, like I say, 4 grams. Fat is 9 grams per gram, okay? 9 calories per gram. So this is why there was sort of the war on fat however many years ago, or people are like, oh, I'm watching my fats. You don't need to watch the fat content per se. Fat doesn't make you fat, but it does contain more calories than the other macronutrients, okay? So you've got main functions of all of these. Protein is with like muscle recovery, hormone production, things like protein is present within literally every cell. Oh, what's the word I'm trying to use? Like activity within the body. Protein is sort of within everything, okay? I'm not going to break it down into the amino acids because it's really not that important, okay? But protein, when you break it down, is made up of amino acids, okay? And no, you don't need to supplement with BCAAs. Unless you're vegetarian or vegan, then you may benefit from that, but we'll talk about that in a little bit, okay? Carbs, main source of energy, you learn that in school. Fat, very important for hormonal functions and functions within your brain. And all of them fundamentally are a source of calories through energy, okay? So that is the most important thing with any macronutrient, is it is providing your body with energy as well as other specific functions with that macronutrient, okay? So you've got the three main macronutrients that, like I say, we won't go into that too much detail in, because it really doesn't matter. And again, this is for normal people looking to build a better relationship with food and have it come easy. If you want to complicate things by setting yourself a fat, carb goal, feel free, okay? Protein, I set my clients a protein goal when I work with them, because that really is the most important macronutrient. You want to have approximately 1 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. And I always explain this to my clients as like a scale. So protein is like a scale. You've got the lower end of the scale and you've got the higher end of the scale. On the higher end of the scale, you've got 2 grams per kilo of body weight. On the lower end of the scale, you've got 1 gram of protein per kilo of body weight. So if you are a 70 kilo female, a good range of protein for you is anywhere between 70 grams and 140 grams of protein a day. So with my clients, I typically put them on the lower end of the scale to help them build it up, because for most people, getting enough protein is something they're not currently doing. So if I was to set a client right on the higher end of the scale of 2 grams, they're going to be eating a lot of chicken, a lot of eggs to get that protein in, because they don't have that knowledge build up of what a good source of protein is. And already off the bat, if you're doing that, you're setting them up for failure. And if you are someone who is setting yourself a protein goal and you don't have a coach or anything, set yourself a goal on the lower end of the scale, because it's going to make it a lot easier for you to build that habit and then increase that protein goal over time. And your protein really doesn't need to be massively high, okay? Protein is when you are in a deficit, so when you are reducing your calories, protein is really beneficial because it helps you feel fuller, and it's the macronutrient is more satisfying. As well as that, the more protein you have, protein basically has a higher thermic effect. So what that means is when you eat protein, your body requires more calories to digest it. But that does not mean that it boost your metabolism and you will be burning a shit ton more calories. The margin of calories you will burn by eating more protein is not a lot at all, okay? But regardless, protein is a really important macronutrient and it can help you feel fuller for longer, repair your muscles after training. So it is important you're getting a baseline of protein and the most important thing is, again, look at yourself. Ask yourself how you feel. If you are someone who's started training, you're 6 months in, and you're really starting to get like a lot of DOMs after your workout, then maybe up your protein a little bit. But unless you're feeling any adverse effects, don't think, oh, should I increase my protein? Is that going to help me lose more body fat, gain more muscle? The difference by adding 5 grams, 10 grams, short term is going to be very, very little. And that's really what I want to emphasize out of this podcast is you don't need to overstress about these things, because that's what everyone does. They overstress about their protein. Oh, I'm 10 grams under my protein today. What the fuck do I do? Am I not going to lose fat this week? And it's like, no, Sharon, calm your tits, okay? You're going to lose fat. You're in your deficit, okay? So we've gone over importance of protein. Satisfies you, fat, okay, for normal healthy hormonal functions, you want about 25, I said that really funny then, sorry, you want about 25 to 35 grams of, 25 to 35% of your calories per day you want coming from fat within your diet, okay? So again, look at yourself, okay? Are you getting healthy fats in? Are you eating things like eggs, which of course are a good source of vitamin D, avocado, omegas? Are you getting those things within your diets? If you are not, maybe increase them a little bit, okay? But be mindful that, like I say, fat is more calories per gram. So fat doesn't make you fat, but it is more calories. So you will have smaller portions of fat as you would, say, protein and carbs. I love fat. Like, I could easily go keto because I love fat. I much prefer fats and carbs. Some people find that when they are seeking fat loss, like personally, I find fats are very they regulate your hunger hormone. Sorry about that, folks. My camera stopped recording then, but we are back. Okay, sorry, back on fat. So fats, 25 to 35% of your calories you want from fat. Fat regulates your hunger hormones, so it helps decrease the hormone that tells you you're hungry, and it helps increase your hormone that tells you that you're full. Okay, so you've got leptin and ghrelin, and that the fats within your diet helps to regulate those. Okay, so it boosts your satiety hormone and it decreases your hunger hormone. So leptin is your satiety hormone, so it tells you, oh, I'm full, and ghrelin is your hormone that tells you you're hungry. Okay, so fat does that. So I find when I'm seeking a calorie deficit, although fat is more calories, I really do find that I feel less hungry when I eat more fat, and I find it a lot easier to diet. Okay, so that could mainly be because carbohydrates spike your blood sugar, and then it's a bit like coffee. You know, when you have your morning coffee and then by sort of midday you like feel like you're getting that little slump. Carbohydrates is kind of the same. Like when you've had a meal that contains carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises, and then obviously throughout the day as you use your energy, the blood sugar levels are going to come back down, and that's why you get like a hunger hit or as such, or you just feel, oh, like I really need to eat again. Okay, that's with your blood sugar. So if you are someone that finds you are really like up and down with like your hunger, if you find that you don't really get progressively hungry, you just sort of go from being satisfied to really hungry, you might be wanting to regulate your blood sugar a little bit more. So that's why having a balanced meal is really beneficial. Like having a meal with a source of protein, source of carbs, source of fats, nice and balanced, is going to help regulate your blood sugar. Okay, and we're not going to go massively into blood sugar and say, oh, you need to be monitoring this and monitoring that, because that's not what this is about. This is about making it simple and easy, and it doesn't have to be complicated. So I really don't want to overcomplicate this podcast, okay? That is the main sort of breakdown of macronutrients, okay? Calories, of course, are the most important fundamental when seeking any result, whether that be fat loss, whether that be muscle gain, whatever, okay? It really does come down to your calories, and calories are how much energy you require, okay? So everyone requires a different amount of calories, and the most important thing, okay, if you are someone tracking your calories, is to not be a dickhead about it and actually track them properly. Don't do what I used to do, which was set myself a calorie goal that was pretty low, and then go over them and not track it, okay? If you are tracking calories, you need to be honest with yourself, because that's the only way you're going to know how many calories you're actually taking in and what the outcome is. Because if you're someone that sets you a calorie goal of 1,200 Monday to Friday and you stick to that, but then at the weekend you get a takeaway and then you just don't track on a Sunday, you wait until the Monday, you may have been eating 2,500, 3,000 calories Saturday, Sunday, taking you out of your weekly deficit. So if you are someone who's currently tracking calories and not seeing the return on your investment, as in you're not seeing the results you want, make sure you are tracking your calories properly. And even if you do it for that one weekend, you can then figure out what your weekly goal should actually be. And a lot of the time when I work with clients, I'll set them a calorie goal. Like they might say, oh yeah, I've been tracking calories, I've been eating 1,500. We'll have a week of like recall before they start, and I'll set them a calorie goal of like, let's say 1,700. And they're like, oh, I'm eating more calories, won't I like gain fat? Or like, what's the purpose of this? Is it going to boost my metabolism? metabolism. I'm like, no, just trust me. So what I've done is I've given them more daily calories so that at the weekend, when they actually eat more over their goal, they will be accountable to it and they will track it. And they often think, oh, I'm eating more and I'm losing weight. It's like, no, not really. You are eating the same amount, or you're eating less, but you're sticking to something a bit more regulated, if that makes sense. And there's this whole thing about like metabolisms, and like your metabolism will adapt. So again, for example, if you are let's just say you're a 70 kilo female, you've been eating 2,000 calories to lose weight, you've lost 10 kilos and you've ended your diet on 1,500 calories. So you've lost 10 kilos and you've reduced your daily calories by 500 a day to do that. That 1,500 calories is now your maintenance calories. So that's roughly how many calories you would need to eat to sort of maintain that body weight. What you can do when you're in positions like that is bring your calories back up again slowly. You can call this reverse dieting. You can call it bulking. I don't use these labels with my clients because, again, it comes with all this mentality around it of, oh, I'm bulking, I'm boosting my calories, do you know what I mean? I just like saying we're going to increase your calories, because it's just like, oh, I'm just increasing my calories. It takes, especially if you are a female who is nervous about increasing calories, which a lot of my ladies are when we first start, the term bulking can be quite scary, because when you see bulking, you see men that are typically eating a shit ton of food and getting a bit fat, okay? There's no need for that. We will increase calories slowly. So again, coming back to that female, let's just say she's 60 kilos. 1,500 is her maintenance of calories. Let's say over the course of 8 weeks, we increase her calories to 1,800 a day. So 300 calories more a day. And let's say she's gained 2 kilos, okay? So she is still maintaining like that lower weight, but we've managed to increase her calories slowly. And how we do that is through metabolic adaptation. So your metabolism will adapt to what you give it. And if you do it gradually and slowly, your body will adapt and adjust better, as opposed to just gaining a ton of body fat quickly, okay? The more muscle you have, the more calories you will burn. So we need to take this into consideration as well, as your bodies change and your body composition changes. And it really is about basing it on the individual. Like, I don't want to say, oh, if you've been dieting, but you've seen a weight plateau, maybe you should increase your calories, because that may not be the case. You may have been dieting well, and you may have been now slacking off your diet. So that's why you're not seeing the weight loss, not because you're... Because again, this whole idea of your metabolism can break or your metabolism can fuck off is complete bullshit. Because regardless, if I put you on a desert island, you would still lose body fat, okay? If I was to be put on a desert island right now and not eat for 2 weeks or whatever, I would lose body fat. My metabolism is not broken. And this is, again, what I used to believe. And it's just the biggest load of bullshit ever, okay? So stop believing this shit. Your metabolism isn't broken. You do not necessarily need to rebalance your hormones. And again, it's people trying to sell you something, which I get. Like, and ultimately, people can benefit from, like, eating whole foods. You know what I mean? Like, when people like, it's all about eating whole foods, it's like, well, yeah, that is beneficial. No one's saying if you're seeking a calorie deficit, just focus on the calories, don't eat whole foods. That's not what people are saying, but they're saying focus on the energy balance and then focus on where you are getting your calories from, okay? I did have some questions which I want to go on to now, so let me find them. So the first question I had is, how do I know I'm at maintenance calories? Okay, this is a really good question. And really, I think the most important thing is to establish why you are seeking a maintenance of calories. Is it because you have dieted for a while and you need a diet break, like psychologically and physically, or are you just trying to maintain that body composition? Okay, for most normal people, you are looking to have a diet break. Okay, physically and psychologically, you need a break from dieting, which is really important. I schedule my clients in diet breaks. And what we're basically trying to do is just reset their mind and give their body a bit of a rest. Because when you are in a deficit, your body is working on less than optimal, okay? That does not mean that you should be absolutely fucking shattered and do you know what I mean? Because again, I think people just try and overemphasize that deficits are bad because your body is having to use its energy stores, when that's not the case. If you are seeking a little bit of a lower body fat percentage, being in a deficit is not, it's not bad, okay? It's not bad to want to lose weight, which is what I'm trying to say, okay? But when you are in a deficit, you are less than optimal, and again, that will depend on the degree of deficit. If you are in a very steep deficit of calories, then you are going to be more tired. You are going to be more prone to injury. Your sleep is going to probably be impacted. Your hormones, you're going to feel like shit. If you are doing that, you are dieting too hard, okay? You need to bring your calories up a little bit. But back to your question, okay? Maintenance of calories. If you are doing it to have a diet break and a mindset break, remember, your body composition will still change given time. So let's just say you have dieted, again, you've gone down to 60 kilos, you were 70 kilos, you've gone down to 60 kilos, and you're eating 1,500 calories. And you're like, right, I'm quite good here. I don't really want to lose any more weight at the moment. I sort of want to maintain. Then what I would suggest doing is increasing your calories slowly over time. And again, you could even call this reverse dieting or whatever, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the range where you're no longer in a deficit, but you're still not quite in a surplus. And your body composition will still change. You will still, if you are training it progressively and you're gaining muscle, let's just say you have the same calorie amount for 6 months, guaranteed, if you are resistance training, you will still lose body fat and gain muscle within that time frame, okay? So your body is still going to change long term. So let's say your maintenance of calories is 1,700 after ending your diet on 1,500, and you stick to that amount for 6 months. Again, your weight will fluctuate in between. You can't say, I will stay this exact number on the scale. That's not what you should be focusing on. You should be focusing more on your sort of composition. So how your body is looking, because you could gain 2 kilos and look better, okay? You could look leaner where you have more muscle. You can look healthier, more defined, and so on, okay? So if you are seeking your maintenance, start increasing your calories slowly and give yourself like a time frame. So say to yourself, right, I'm going to stick at my maintenance for 2 months, okay? Do your check-ins every sort of 2 to 4 weeks. Take pictures of yourself, measure yourself in your clothing, and you can weigh yourself, okay? But take the weigh-in with a pinch of salt. If you've increased your calories by 200 a day and you weigh yourself at the end of the week, guess what? You're likely going to be heavier, not necessarily because you've gained body fat, but because you have more food in your digestive system, and you're going to be holding more water from your carbs and just general food, okay? So give your body a bit of time to level out, but focus on your composition, okay? Because again, if you're eating more carbohydrates, you will have more glycogen stored in your muscle, which will increase the scale weight. So always focus on how you look and how you feel, okay? So maintenance of calories, give yourself a time frame that you're going to increase your calories by. Start by like 100 calorie increment, see how you look, see how you feel for sort of 2 to 3, 4 weeks, and then go from there. Increase them again, depending on the rate. If you've lost weight within that time, guess what? You're still probably in a deficit. Maybe increase your calories a bit more. Maybe try 100 a day, 150 a day, and build up from there. But always refer to your pictures, because don't think, oh, I've gained 2 kilos, I'm now in a surplus, because you might not be, okay? Look at your body composition, look at how you look, and look at how you feel, and know that those numbers will always adapt over time, because there are so many factors that influence it. So trying to give people a specific number is just not accurate. You might have a month where you have let's just say you go from working at home to now working in the office, and your steps are going to increase. So guess what? You're going to be burning more calories. That maintenance may now be a deficit. So it's always going to be a bit of trial and error. But again, don't focus on the numbers so much. Give yourself a time frame, focus on how you look and focus on how you feel, and focus on what the main outcome of that maintenance of calories is. Is it to give yourself a diet break? Because if you are, then as long as you're not undoing all the progress of gaining, say, a bunch of body fat, then really it's about having a physical and mental break. So enjoy yourself, relax on the numbers a little bit. Don't be so rigid in your approach. Try and relax and enjoy it a little bit more. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry my questions are not answered generically, but I don't feel that that's beneficial. Do you know what I mean? Me saying, oh, if you were 60 kilos and you're eating 1,500 calories, then your maintenance is probably 1,700, because that's not going to help you. Do you know what I mean? You need to understand what is actually happening, okay? Right. Next question. What percentage of protein... what percentage should protein be out of your calories if in a deficit? Okay, so again, I don't work on percentages, I work on grams. So again, 1 to 2 grams per kilo of body weight. Let's say you have just started out and you set yourself a calorie goal of 1,700 calories, and you are 70 kilos, okay? Give yourself a protein range anywhere between, I'd say, like 70, which is 1 gram per kilo of body weight, to like 100, okay? If you do that and you naturally are eating 110 grams of protein a day, then just increase your protein a little bit, okay? Because if you're already overreaching a goal, then there's no problem with you having your calories a bit over. Sorry, not your calories a bit over, your protein a bit higher. Again, it's a scale. So look at where you are already on the scale. If you are 70 kilos and you're eating 60 grams a day, set yourself a goal of 70 kilos, hit that 70 grams, hit that 70 grams every day for a couple weeks, and then give yourself an extra 10 grams. An extra 10 grams of protein could be really easy to get in if you know how to do it. That could literally be an extra 50 grams of chicken or an extra 100 grams of Greek yogurt a day. So it's really easy to get a little bit more in, but just start with smaller increments because it will make it a lot easier. And the steeper you get into your deficit, you may want to increase your protein a little bit more. But remember, if you are reducing calories, you will be having to reduce your daily calorie intake. So you're going to be having to reduce your portions of things. So don't think, oh, if I'm now in a deficit, I need to up my protein a lot, because you're going to miss out on other things, okay? The deficit is the most important thing. The protein will just complement that. If you are really hungry, increase your protein a little bit. But also look at your food quality. Look at where your calories are mainly coming from. Are they coming from quick, convenient foods, or are they coming from proper meals, okay? I hope that answers your question. Do you give vegetarians/vegans different macro splits to people who eat meat? No, because I don't give anyone macro splits. I set my clients a calorie and a protein goal, and then that is what we work on. In very rare cases, I may set a client a carb goal or a fat goal. Really, I set them more a fat goal, and their carbs can just make up the rest. The only thing I do differently with sort of vegans and vegetarians is I encourage them to supplement with certain things. And with vegetarians and vegans, again, I'm likely to put them on the lower end of the scale for protein, because it's going to be harder for them to get that protein in initially. So I will set them a lower goal, again, anywhere between 1 gram to 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, and then we'll build up from there. Supplements are going to be important for them, taking things like omegas. I'll encourage them to ensure they're getting fats within their diet. But again, like anyone, I encourage them to be in the bracket of the calories first and foremost when seeking a result. But I do focus on where their food is coming from. Like I say, I know I talk about calories a lot, But it's just because honestly it's like liberating. Once you know that really it comes down to the calories, you're like, oh my god, I have so much food freedom. I can enjoy chocolate guilt free. I can have a takeaway once in a while and know that I haven't completely fucked my progress. So that is what I focus on first and foremost, and then I focus on what their food actually looks like. Like I might say to a client, oh, this week I can see you've had a lot more snacks out and about. Make sure that you are trying to make meals at home, because A, it saves you money, and B, you can control the calories more. So I'll just make little tips here and there, because everyone's diet is different, and this idea that we all need to have the same diet and we all need to eat oats for breakfast and have some cereal post-workout is just not the case at all. Everyone's diet is different, and if you are seeking a specific goal, be that fat loss, be that muscle gain, the calories are the most important fundamental, and then where you are getting your food from, okay? Macros really do not matter. They will differ day to day, and again, this is from normal people, not athletes, not people trying to jump on stage or whatever, okay? It really doesn't matter. And again, look at yourself, ask yourself, am I really hungry? Okay, maybe I should have more protein, or maybe I should try and get more fats within my diet. Am I having crashes in energy? Okay, maybe you're having too much caffeine. Maybe you're eating a lot of high glycemic carbs, so carbs that spike your blood sugar levels and insulin and then really quick, okay? Are you eating food that is high in calories but low in nutrients? Okay, if that's the case, perhaps swap out your Costa muffin for a homemade chocolate muffin that you made, or a lower calorie option, or a protein bar. Do you know what I mean? Something like this. Look at your own diet and make adjustments there, and know that little things that you can maintain is going to make such a big difference than trying to cut out things as a whole and completely change your diet. You do not need to do that. It is so unnecessary. So just don't, okay? Just don't do it. Right. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. Again, I'm really sorry that my answers are not generic, but that is because I am the unconventional coach, you know. But really, like I say, it's so individual. The most important thing is to always look at yourself, look at your own diet, and ask yourself what could be better, what could be improved. And just gaining the knowledge, like gain knowledge about your body and how you react to things. Like I say, I love high fat food. I thrive on a higher fat, lower carb diet. I still have days where I have higher carb days. That doesn't impact my progress at all. Just look at the longer, bigger picture, guys, okay? And don't over emphasize your macro splits, okay? Calories are key. Sorry to be annoying. Right. That is all from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, if you did, please give me a message, share it on your socials, send it to a friend that needs to hear it, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode.